Hello everyone, this is Dimitri with Hurricnux, and it's always exciting when Corsair releases a new Obsidian. I mean, this was the series that started it all for them, and they are really populating the line, so I guess we can never complain about having too much choice, right? So this is the Corsair Obsidian 450D, a second mid-tower in the line, and brings a few needed improvements with a very attractive price of $120. Now, one thing I'm very happy about is the new protective plastic that no longer takes ages to remove, and it doesn't leave any gunk on the front aluminum plates, proving to us that they are listening to users' feedback, and that is exactly what is needed. The Obsidian line has always carried that elegant and square design. I think that's gonna carry forward as the 450D looks the part of the Obsidian with a large square window cutout and now a perforated front panel, so this case is designed with airflow in mind. The panel is easily removable, has a built-in dust filter and an aluminum plate installed for that elegant aesthetic. For the main intake, we got two 140mm fans with a nice open frame internally for resistance-free airflow, and dual 120mm fans are supported as well. There are two optical drives at the front, and like with every other Obsidian, there's no clean implementation of optical installation, as the frame is wider and stealth covers are not included, so it won't look uniform. Furthermore, there are only two USB 3 ports. I think for a case of this caliber, at least 4 should be included, as that's very common to see in mid-towers, but perhaps on the next Obsidian iteration. Then we have the standard audio jacks and PR buttons. Up top we get a large magnetic dust filter covering the entire area, so I'm very happy to see triple 120 or dual 140mm fan support, so radiator options up top should complement Corsair's all-in-one Hydra series very well, plus the rubber grommets to absorb fan vibrations, so that's considerate. Nothing unusual at the back. A 120mm high airflow exhaust fan is included. There's a 7 PCI slot, so ATX is the maximum compatibility for your motherboard. Then there's the bottom mounted power supply with a large magnetic dust filter, also covering the entire bottom, so I'm very happy to see full dust proof with the 450D. Now let's get inside this mid-tower to see how the latest Obsidian stacks up as a 2014 release. Now, one thing I want to point out are how thin and flimsy the side panels are. It shouldn't cause any concern over structural integrity, but it becomes difficult placing the panels back as one side is flush against the case while the other isn't. Also, the front element of the case is plastic and it's not steel, so it seems like the compromise in quality has been made to hit that price point. Internals look very open, and that's something we've come to expect with every Corsair chassis. An additional 120 or 140mm intake fan can be installed beside the drive cage at the bottom. There's a large gap to allow direct airflow and also longer GPU compatibility. The drive cage supports 3 drives with standard caddies, so regular toolless 3.5-inch mounting, and SSDs as well. You'll just have to remove one of the metal pegs on the side, and that's why I prefer centered SSD mounting holes. Now notice how high the base is for the drive cage. This means the cage is on the level with the bottom 3 PCI slots. And given we just have over 11 inches of GPU clearance, this internal spacing may not favor dual graphics card configurations or even some PCI lanes on the motherboard. I think the base should have been shorter, or at least accommodate an additional drive caddy. Luckily, the drive cage is modular, so you can relocate it to the above position that opens up an additional fan spot at the bottom, so a 240mm radiator is an option without sacrificing on drive storage. But because the chassis isn't very long, there's practically no room for your power supply with the radiator installed, limiting maximum power supply compatibility to 150mm, and a little extra with just a fan. I think this is a huge oversight from Corsair. I definitely was not expecting such a major compromise for the bottom mounting options, and a simple power supply bracket extender at the back would have allowed compatibility for longer units without compromising on potential for that additional bottom radiator. However, the front does support 240 and 280mm radiators with appropriate spacing, but this means getting rid of the entire drive cage completely. However, the 450D is equipped with a couple of toolless SSD brackets at the back, so you're not totally left without storage. So you just slide the SSD in, and in case you're using very slim drive, removing the bracket is very simple with just a single screw, and appropriate cutouts are available on the SSD bracket to secure the actual SSD. Now, of course, Corsair's major strength has always been cable management, and the 450D doesn't disappoint with large rubber grommets, many cable tie mounts, and just under an inch of clearance for all your cable routing. And starting with the assembly, Corsair is one of the few companies that pre-installs the motherboard standoffs that simplify your process, so that's very appreciated, and the finished build looks outstanding in Corsair fashion. Cable management was so simple that I didn't even use any cable ties, yet all the cables are completely flush to the case. The CPU cutout is also oversized, that would allow seamless cooler swaps. Now, I would have appreciated a few cutouts right underneath the motherboard for cleaner routing, but this also does the job. And the 450D will accommodate really well for top radiators with 3 inches of space till our memory modules. Now, to the most part, the latest Obsidian has been successful, with its underrated Obsidian good looks, full dustproof with easily removable filters, a non-restrictive front intake with great airflow, extremely simple to work in thanks to an effective layout, and the additional Ssd brackets are sort of expected and very appreciated. However, the build quality is just not on par to what we've come to expect from the Obsidian line. Comparing to other cases in the same price range like the H440, 693 from Cooler Master, the Midi R2 from Fractal Design, and the 450D just doesn't feel as robust. Bottom radiator support is not optimal as it limits your power supply length. There's no stealth cover included for the optical drive, and only 11 inches for the bottom 3 PCI brackets due to the height of the drive cage. That is limiting for this form factor. I do love all the improvements, however, that Corsair has added, but it seems that some compromises have been added as well, that I'm hoping would be fixed in the next iteration. And the simple solution to make this a top level contender is basically an extended power supply bracket that would allow at least 160mm units supported with a 240mm bottom radiator. But what do you guys think of this new Obsidian? At $120, would you look past the compromises, or would the 450D not hit the right spot for you? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to like if you enjoyed this review, subscribe for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.